battlefield was still burning. Smoke filled the air. Human soldier Logan stood silently, watching the alien bodies around him. His uniform was torn, and his face was covered in dust. He had just saved the life of an alien warlord during the last fight, even though they were enemies yesterday. Now he was standing in front of that same warlord who sat on a tall throne made of bones and steel. The alien crowd was cheering for Logan, calling him the brave human. The warlord raised his hand to silence them. "You saved me, human," the warlord said in a deep voice. "You may choose a reward. Anything." Logan didn't care about rewards. He wanted peace. He just wanted to go home. So he said, "I want you to stop the fighting." The alien warlord laughed, a loud, sharp laugh that echoed across the camp. "Do not stop wars for gifts," he said, "but you will not leave empty-handed." He clapped once. 2 guards dragged a chained figure into the light. It was a girl, tall, thin, and clearly alien. Her skin was a soft purple, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Her arms and legs were covered in metal cuffs. Her eyes were bright violet, and they stared at Logan without blinking. She was barefoot, her feet bleeding from walking too much. "She's yours now," the warlord declared. "A rare one, very obedient. She won't speak unless told to. She was trained well. No one else wanted her, but maybe you will." Logan's face turned cold. "She's not a reward. She's a person." The warlord waved his hand carelessly. "Take her or leave her makes no difference to me." Logan looked at the girl again. She didn't speak, she didn't move, she didn't even cry. He stepped forward and touched the chain gently. The girl flinched. "I'll take her," he said, quietly, "but not as a slave." The journey back to the human base was long. Logan offered the girl food, but she didn't eat. He tried talking, but she didn't answer. She only followed him like a shadow, her chain still dragging on the ground. At night, they camped near a fire. Logan handed her a blanket. She didn't take it. Instead, she sat with her knees to her chest, eyes staring into the flames. "Do you have a name?" he asked gently. Silence. "You don't have to be afraid," he said. "You're free now." Still no answer. Logan sighed and looked at the stars. "I'll call you and Star," he said, "until you tell me your real name." The girl blinked once but said nothing. At the human base, people stared. Some whispered, some laughed. "They gave him a slave girl?" one soldier said. "Looks like a broken toy." "She doesn't even talk," said another. "Probably dangerous." Logan ignored them. He gave the girl clean clothes, warm food, and a bed in his small home. She didn't touch anything for days. He tried writing simple words on paper and handed her a pen. She looked at it like she didn't know what to do. But one night, while he was sleeping, she picked it up. The next morning, Logan found the paper with a single word written on it. Jera. That day, Logan smiled. "So that's your name," he whispered. But Jera still didn't speak. When loud noises happened, she covered her head and curled up in fear. When Logan walked too fast near her, she flinched. She never asked for anything. She never showed anger or sadness. She was trained like that. One night, Logan sat beside her. "You're not a thing," he said softly. "You don't have to act like one." Jera looked at him with wide eyes. For the first time, her lips moved. Not a word, just a whisper. But the sound of it was like the first drop of rain after years of drought. She whispered, "Why?" "Because no one should live in chains," Logan replied. And for the first time, Jera didn't flinch when he reached for her hand. The night was cold, but the silence between them was colder. Logan woke to the sound of soft scratching. He blinked and looked toward the desk in the corner. The girl, Jera, was there, holding the pen he had given her. Her thin hand trembled as she slowly drew symbols on paper. Not pictures. Words. Her alien letters curved like vines. He sat up, quietly, watching. Then she dropped the pen, as if her courage had broken in half. Logan got up and picked up the paper. It had one sentence, written carefully in human letters. "Am I allowed to think?" The question hit harder than any weapon ever could. He looked at Jera. She was sitting with her back against the wall, knees pulled to her chest, hiding her face. Yes, Logan said. You are allowed to think, feel, choose, everything. Jera didn't answer, but for the first time she didn't hide her eyes. The next morning, Logan took her to the medic. Jera flinched at the sight of needles and bright lights. The doctor checked her quietly. She's malnourished, he said. Dehydrated. Look at the scars on her back. She's been beaten for years. Jera didn't speak, but her eyes shimmered with something new, shame. She didn't choose that life, Logan said firmly. She deserves better, the doctor sighed. She's lucky you're not like the others. Days passed. Logan started leaving books around the room. Picture books. Children's books. Jera stared at them like they were weapons. But slowly she opened one page at a time. She didn't read aloud. She didn't smile. But she turned, every page with care, like each one held something sacred. One day, Logan returned from patrol and found the chain on the table. Jera had taken it off. She stood silently in the corner, free, but unsure. You don't have to wear it anymore, Logan said. Jera looked at him and whispered something so soft he almost missed it. If I'm free, why am I still scared? Logan didn't have an answer. He just said, you're scared because you remember, but one day the memories won't control you anymore. Jera nodded slowly. That night, Logan cooked real food. Not protein bars, not army rations. He made soup. It was simple, but warm. Real. He placed the bowl in front of her. She stared at it for a long time. Then finally, she picked up the spoon. Her hands shook. She took one bite, then another, and then she began to cry. Logan didn't say anything. He just sat with her in silence while she finished the whole bowl. Later, she pointed at the pen again. Logan handed it to her. She wrote one more sentence. I don't want to be a thing anymore, he smiled. You never were. That same night, outside their small home, a group of human officers watched from afar. One of them whispered, "Why does he keep her?" Another said, "He should have sent her to the alien shelters." A third shrugged. Maybe he sees something in her. But none of them knew what Logan knew. Jera wasn't just a slave girl. She was something different. He just didn't know what yet. Inside, Jera whispered her name one more time. Jera. And for the first time, she smiled. Jera screamed in her sleep. Logan rushed into the room. She was curled in a tight ball on the floor, shaking, eyes wide open but not seeing him. Her breath came fast, panicked. She kept whispering the same word in her language, over and over. He dropped to his knees beside her and gently touched her shoulder. "Jera, it's me. You're safe. You're not there anymore." Her eyes focused slowly. She blinked. Then tears rolled down her cheeks. "I was back in the cage," she whispered. Logan didn't ask for details. He just sat next to her until she stopped shaking. The next morning, Jera didn't speak. She didn't eat. She just stared at her own hands, like they didn't belong to her. Logan placed a warm drink on the table and said softly, "Do you want to talk?" She looked up slowly. "I wasn't supposed to survive." Logan frowned. "What do you mean?" "I was bred to be quiet, to obey. My body was trained. My mind was ignored. I wasn't meant to have thoughts, feelings, hopes, only orders." She looked out the window. "That cage you saw? It wasn't just metal. It's still in here." She touched her head gently. "Chains, in my mind." Logan nodded. "But chains can break." He started giving her small tasks. Boil water, fold a blanket, draw something she liked. At first, she hesitated with everything. She'd look at him before doing even the smallest thing, waiting for permission like a child punished too many times. But slowly, something began to change. One morning, he found her making tea without being asked. Later, She folded the sheets, and even tried brushing her hair. Tiny steps, but real. That evening, Logan gave her a mirror. She flinched at her own reflection. "Why?" she asked. "I want you to see the person I see," Logan replied. Jera stared at herself for a long time. Her violet eyes, her scarred arms, her soft glowing skin. She didn't look like a monster. But she didn't look like herself either. "I don't know who I am," she said. "That's okay," Logan said. "We'll find her together." One day, Zara asked, "Why do you care?" Logan didn't answer right away. He looked out the window, thinking. "When I was a boy, I saw a stray dog being kicked in the street," he said. "It was small, weak. No one helped it. I was too scared to step in. I've never forgotten that." He turned to her. "I didn't help that day, but I'm helping now." Jera looked at him, eyes wide. "I'm not a dog." "I know." Logan smiled. "That's why you deserve even more." But not everyone agreed. That week, a human officer came to his door. "She's not stable," the officer said. "Aliens like her, damaged ones, they belong in special care. You can't just keep her." Logan stood tall. "She's not a pet. She's a person. And she stays." The officer narrowed his eyes. "Then she's your responsibility." Logan didn't flinch. She always was. That night, Jera held the chain she once wore. She stared at it for a long time, then handed it to Logan. "I want to melt this down," she said. "Make something new." "What would you make?" he asked. She thought for a moment. "A key. For someone else." He smiled. "You've come far, Jera." She looked at him, a new fire in her eyes. "I'm not finished." The screams weren't human. Logan gripped Jera's hand tightly as they walked into the underground slave market. The air smelled like blood, oil, and fear. Hundreds of cages lined the walls, filled with beings from every corner of the galaxy. Some looked half dead. Others looked dead already. Jera's breathing grew shallow. Her eyes scanned the cages, her steps slowing. She whispered, "I remember this smell." Logan stopped. "You don't have to go in." But Jera shook her head. "I must. If I'm to be truly free, then I have to face it." They came here for a reason. Jera was still legally owned, at least according to alien law. She couldn't leave Earth space, couldn't vote, couldn't even claim her name unless her slave registration was deleted from the central auction ledger. And the only way to do that was here, in the city of Vardek's pit, where lives were sold for fun. At the center of the dark chamber stood a giant ring, a stage for auctions. Creatures stood in line, their chains glowing with identification codes. Loud alien announcers shouted bids as crowds cheered, laughed, and waved credit tokens. A tall merchant in blue robes saw them enter and smiled wide. "Ah, human and property. How may I help you? Selling her, perhaps?" Logan's jaw tightened. "We're here to delete her name from your records." The merchant blinked, then laughed. "Oh, no, no, no. That's not how it works. She was a royal breeding project, very rare, very expensive. If you want to unbind her, you must go through the ritual sale." "What ritual?" The merchant grinned wider. "She must be offered at auction. Then you must outbid every buyer and claim her as your own." Jera whispered, "They'll want to take me again." Logan looked at her, voice steady. "Then they'll have to go through me." Jera was brought to the auction stage. The crowd roared in excitement. Up next, a rare violet skin class 7, former royal genetics, highly trained, never bred. Logan stood in the crowd surrounded by monsters, thugs, and nobles waving money. The bidding started. 2,000 credits. 5,000. 10,000. For breeding rights. Jera stood tall, even as her arms trembled. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. Then someone shouted from the balcony above, 50,000! I'll make her scream like the others! Logan raised his hand. 51,000. The crowd turned. An alien lord snarled, "A human? Competing here?" Logan met his eyes. "She's mine." The merchant laughed. "You must bid more, soldier." 200,000, Logan said. Gasps echoed. The merchant's smile faded. "Do you even have that money?" No, Logan said, but I offer something rarer. He stepped forward, his voice loud. I offer her the right to choose. I offer her freedom. I offer my life to defend her. A silence fell over the market. No one had ever said such words here. Jera looked at him, eyes full of light, and stepped forward. I am not a prize, she said, her voice shaking but clear. I am not for sale. And suddenly, her chains shattered. Metal broke into pieces with a sharp crack. A strange glow pulsed from her body. The merchant stumbled back. She activated. The crowd panicked, because they realized the truth. Jera wasn't just a rare slave. She was a hidden royal-class genetic weapon, coded to obey until she remembered herself. And now, she remembered. Guards moved in, blasters were drawn, but Jera stepped down from the platform. She grabbed Logan's hand, and together, they ran. Rain slammed against the rooftops like war drums. Logan's boots splashed through the flooded alleys as he ran beside Jera. Sirens screamed behind them. Alien guards shouted in their language, energy rifles flashing in the dark. But they kept running. Jera didn't stumble. She didn't slow down. Her bare feet bled across broken glass, but she didn't care. She was finally free, and now the whole city wanted her dead. They reached an old storm drain, half collapsed and hidden behind market ruins. Logan pulled aside the metal grate and helped her in. Inside, the tunnel was wet, dark, and freezing. Jera's glowing skin lit the path as they crawled deeper. I remember this place, she said softly. They used to bring us here, when we disobeyed. Logan paused. You don't have to go on. She looked him in the eyes. I do. This time I'm not crawling to survive. I'm walking out by choice. Hours passed. The storm outside grew louder. The sewer tunnel opened into a hollow chamber, long abandoned. Logan dropped his pack and built a small fire using old wood and flares. Jera sat beside it, shivering. Logan removed his jacket and placed it around her shoulders. You're warm, she whispered. He smiled. You're human enough to feel cold. That's progress. She gave a weak laugh, her first real laugh. Then silence. Only the fire crackled between them. Jera stared into the flames. Why did you come back for me at the auction? Logan looked at her gently. Because I promised you something. Freedom. You didn't promise me love. I didn't think I was allowed. She turned toward him. Her voice was barely a whisper. No one ever looked at me like you do. Not like I'm a person. You are a person, Jera. You always were. She blinked fast, tears starting to fall again, but they were different tears. Not pain. Healing. Suddenly there was a sound. Metal boots on stone. Logan stood fast, weapon drawn. From the shadows, 3 bounty hunters appeared, tall, armed, and grinning. We don't care who she is, one said. That glowing skin's worth a fortune. Jera stood slowly. I am not for sale. One bounty hunter laughed. Then, die, glowing girl. He fired. But the bolt stopped in midair. Glowing blue energy pulsed around Jera's outstretched hand. The bounty hunters froze. Logan's mouth dropped open. I remember now, Jera said. What they built me for. Her skin glowed brighter. Her eyes flared like stars. The next second, energy shot from her palms, blasting the hunters into the wall, unconscious. After the silence returned, Jera turned to Logan. I don't want to be a weapon either, she said quietly. You don't have to be, he said. You get to choose. Later, as the storm outside began to fade, they sat close beside the fire. Jera leaned gently against him. For the first time, she looked calm, not afraid, not confused, just calm. Logan, she said, do you think someone like me could ever belong somewhere? He looked into her glowing violet eyes. You already do. The sky above was quiet, too quiet. Logan guided Jera through the back trails of the forest outside the city. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled of thunder. Behind them, The glowing towers of Vardek's slave city faded into the fog. Ahead, freedom. Possibly. But Jera kept glancing at her hands. She was still shaking. Logan finally stopped. You saved both of us back there. Jera looked up, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. I didn't mean to, she said. It just happened. The power, the energy, it woke up. Like something inside me remembered who I was, even if I didn't. Logan placed a hand on her shoulder. Then it's time you found out. They reached a small hidden station where Logan had once trained with alien resistance fighters. Inside was a half-broken medical scanner. He convinced the old medic to help run tests on Jera. An hour passed in silence. Then the screen flashed red. The medic looked shocked. She's not just enhanced, she's engineered. High-tier royal biocode. Half organic, half something else. Logan narrowed his eyes. What does that mean? The medic whispered. She was grown, not born. A lost daughter of the Jalari royal bloodline. One of the last. Jera stood still, frozen in place. I'm royalty? The medic nodded. Not just royalty. You were made to be the perfect mate and for warlords. Jera's voice cracked. So I'm not real. Logan stepped forward. You're more real than anyone I've met. You broke your chains. You made choices. That's what makes you you. Tears welled in her eyes, but she nodded. I don't want to be what they made. Me. Then don't be, Logan said. Be what you choose. But news spread quickly. The bounty on Jera's head had tripled. Alien nobles from 5 systems now wanted her, either returned, destroyed, or captured. They feared her awakening, not just her powers, but her voice and her choice. As night fell, they camped in a hidden cave. Jera sat beside the fire, her back against the wall, her face lit by the flames. Logan cooked a simple meal. When he handed her the bowl, she didn't take it right away. She asked softly, Why do you keep helping me, Logan? Even now when you know what I really am? He sat beside her. Because I don't see a weapon. Or a princess. I see you. Jera. The girl who cried when she tasted real soup. The girl who smiled when she found her name again. She closed her eyes. They used to tell me I was property, beautiful, but empty. You're not empty, Logan said. You're full of fire. She smiled faintly, then whispered, If I asked, would you stay? Logan didn't hesitate. I already have. Suddenly a small chirp came from Logan's comlink, a warning. A nearby ship had landed. Alien soldiers were scanning the forest. They're tracking my blood, Jera said. They won't stop. Logan stood and grabbed his weapon. Then we won't stop either. He turned to her. You still want freedom? She stood beside him, eyes glowing stronger than ever. I want more, she said. I want justice. The stars above were silent witnesses. The wind howled through the cliffs of Vardek's northern mountains, where ancient rock met alien sky. Snowflakes danced around Logan and Jera as they stood near the landing pad, waiting for the only ship bold enough to take them to Earth's capital. She wore no chains now, no slave collars, no fear. Instead, she wore a long dark cloak, her glowing, violet eyes sharp and calm. The markings on her skin shimmered like ancient symbols, unlocked by memory and blood. Today was not a day of escape. Today was the day she walked into the center of the galaxy and demanded to be heard. Inside the galactic high hall, hundreds of alien leaders gathered, senators, nobles, and traders. The chamber was vast, with floating platforms, glowing symbols, and endless whispers echoing through the air. Logan walked beside Jera, silent but ready. He had never felt smaller than he did in this place. But Jera walked with her chin high. Some aliens gasped when they saw her. Others narrowed their eyes. She's supposed to be dead? One hissed. That's the runaway breeding class from the Jalari labs. Why would a human bring her here? Jera stopped at the center platform. A floating voice boomed above her. State your name and purpose. She looked up. My name is Jera, she said. I was born in a lab, raised in chains, designed to serve, trained to obey. Gasps spread across the chamber. But I am no longer what you made me, she continued. I stand here by my own will. I choose my own name. I speak with my own voice, and I am not alone. She turned to Logan and smiled gently. This human did not buy me. He did not command me. He gave me something no one else did. A choice. The chamber buzzed with disbelief. An alien noble stood. You speak of freedom, but you are a creation. You were never real. Jera held out her hand. Touch me. Feel my skin. Hear my heart. You say I am not real, but I bleed like you. I hurt like you, I dream like you. Another shouted, She's dangerous. She destroyed the market and humiliated our nobles. Jera replied, Then maybe your market deserved to fall. The hall fell silent. Logan stepped forward. I was given Jera as a reward, he said. But from the moment I saw her eyes, I knew she wasn't a gift. She was a prisoner. And I won't apologize for helping someone escape torture. Another alien asked, And what now, human? Do you claim her as your property? Logan shook his head. No, I never owned her. I only loved her. A long silence followed. Jera looked out across the crowd. I have only one request. Not revenge. Not war, just recognition. She raised her arm, showing the broken metal cuff she still wore as a reminder. For every being still in chains, for every voice that was silenced, I speak today. Not as a royal, not as a weapon, as someone who finally learned what it means to be alive. The room did not erupt in applause. It sat in heavy, thoughtful quiet. But one by one, screens lit up. Voting lights, some red, some yellow. Then, green. 1, 2, 15, 67, 90. By the time it ended, the central system had declared it official. Jera was free. Her identity recognized, her bloodline restored, her slavery erased. She closed, her eyes as tears fell, silent, warm, real. Weeks passed. On Earth, the news exploded across every channel. Alien slave girl turned princess speaks to the galaxy. People argued, protested, celebrated, but none could ignore the truth now. She wasn't just a symbol, she was a storm. On a quiet evening, beneath the stars of Earth's northern sky, Jera and Logan stood outside a small cabin. The forest was calm. A fire crackled nearby. I didn't think I'd ever have this, she whispered. Freedom. A name. Peace. Logan handed her a warm drink. You earned all of it. She looked at him, voice softer now. You never asked me to be yours. I didn't want to make that choice for you. Jera stepped closer. Well then, she smiled. Let me make it. She took his hand. I choose you. Later, in a small gathering surrounded by friends, humans, and a few brave aliens, they stood side by side. Jera wore no crown, no chains, no armor. Only a simple white robe. Logan stood in black, his face calm, heart pounding. The elder said, The birds. The stars watched again, and in the quiet that followed, Jera kissed her husband. Far away in the slave markets that still dared to exist, a new rumor began to spread. The girl with glowing eyes is coming. She carries no weapon, but she's burned entire chains with her voice alone. She was no longer the prize no one wanted. She was Jera, a queen, a survivor, and forever, his choice.